Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inside Winston Cup Racing. Ned Jarrett's on vacation this week. I'm Randy Pemberton.
And I'm Bill Weber. And coming up in the next half hour, we'll look back on two of our favorite stories from 1992.
We'll also announce the winner of the Miller Genuine Draft Cruise Sweepstakes. We'll have that and much more on this half hour of Inside Winston Cup Racing.
Coming up, we'll look back on some of our best stories of 1992. First, Danger Zone, a story about the tough and tragic times of some of Winston Cup Racing's top drivers. And we'll bring you Rick Hendrick, car owner, car dealer, and one of the most influential people in the sport of Winston Cup Racing.
Inside Winston Cup Racing is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm. And by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car.
Just got back today. Them wild-eyed boys that had been away. Boys are back in town. Boys are back in town.
The Miller Genuine Draft Rusty Wallace stock car is back in town. So you better hold on.
Spread the word around. Guess who's back in town?
Today, performance cars come in a variety of designs, sizes, and even prices. So do Goodyear Eagles, the world's most successful line of performance tires. There are all-season Goodyear Eagles, new ultra-performance Goodyear Eagles. There are Goodyear Eagles for the classic and for the contemporary. No matter what performance car you own, there's a Goodyear Eagle priced for you. It's another reason we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
In America, your car doesn't just get you from here to there. It's a part of your life. To give your car complete protection, Texaco has developed Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. With not one, but 3 kinds of protection against heat stress, starting friction, and engine dirt. Haviland Formula 3. Add more life to your car.
Only Sears has great values on Craftsman tools.
Like this 62-piece mechanics tool set with case and both standard and metric sockets. Only $49.99. They're made in America, guaranteed forever.
You can count on me.
Preventive maintenance is the key to avoiding costly car repair bills.
We'll show you a few steps that anyone can perform in their car to keep it running smoothly.
That's this week on Shade Tree Mechanic.
Shade Tree Mechanic, noon and 9 p.m. Eastern today on TNN.
Welcome back to the show. Once again in 1992, the spectacular nature of automobile racing really showcased the great risk that is involved every time a driver climbs into his or her car.
But Bill, ever since people have been strapping themselves into race cars, they've certainly known and accepted the risks that are involved. Now, NASCAR racing is probably the safest form of automobile racing in the entire world, but nonetheless, the danger is there. And earlier this year, we took a look at the dangers of the sport with a story we called Danger Zone.
When one thinks of the name Allison, the first thing that comes to mind is a family. A family with a fierce competitive nature and the drive and determination to do what few people in the world of sports have done. Put their lives on the line in pursuit of victory. Through the decade of the 70s and 80s, it was brothers Bobby and Donnie that became household names as their talent and tenacious will to win took them to the top of the world of Winston Cup. As the decade of the 90s rolled in, the torch had been passed. Second-generation driver Davey and son of Winston Cup champion Bobby Allison, and nephew of Donnie, now pursues those same dreams of driving and winning on the Winston Cup circuit. But until last weekend, few knew of the burning desires of the youngest Allison, Davey's brother Clifford, who lost his life while attempting to live that family tradition. In no other form of sport does the family tradition run deeper than in stock car racing. And in no other sport must the family spirit be stronger.
You know, Daryl come up there crying and carrying on, and a bunch of different people just looked like looking at me like I was in serious trouble. And I said, well, maybe I'm worse off than I think I am. But fortunately, that wasn't the case. And spent a night at the Tri-Cities Memorial Hospital there, or Regional Medical Center. And Dr. Brassfield and all his staff did a real good job and took good care of me, and now I'm ready to go.
While Winston Cup and Busch Grand National Racing are two of the safest forms of racing in the entire world, at any given moment, anything can happen. Richard Petty would walk away from this wreck in the '88 Daytona 500. The King, he would race the next week.
It's hurting now, and it'll be hurting tomorrow too. But you know, that's part of it. I'll put up with it, and probably time we get to Rockingham, I'll be able to hobble a little bit better.
But son Kyle could not return to action for over 12 weeks after suffering a badly broken leg in this wreck at Talladega in 1991.
My hip's a big concern to me right now because they had to cut me. They cut about 18 or 20 inches into my hip to attach the rod and to put the pin in my hip and stuff. So that's going to be a big concern because I don't have a lot of strength in my hip.
But if they can walk, they'll race. Darrell Waltrip had this frightening wreck in the July running of the Pepsi 400. He started the very next race. But for some, the choices are made for them. Neil Bonnet, a member of the Allison fraternity called the Alabama Gang, missed the majority of the 1987 season after breaking his leg in this crash. The thoughts of a racer after 6 months off and several surgeries?
You know, you're laying there with the IVs in, you're looking up at the ceiling, and you say, man, is this worth it or not? And after I got to thinking about it, there was no doubt in my mind it was worth it. My wife and I discussed it. Financially, I could have quit. And then after I saw that I financially could have, but I didn't want to, it made me realize how much I wanted to come back.
I don't look back at that. I look back, everybody says, boy, you know, that was a bad deal at Dover. I won Dover. I broke my sternum at Dover, but I won there also. And they say, boy, Darlington was bad. I won at Darlington. I don't think of the bad sides. I look at the good side of it. So it's been good. I've had some bad luck, but I've had a lot more good luck along with it.
It's the main thrust of the Alabama Gang that has had more than their share of tragedy over the past few years. Bobby Allison nearly lost his life in this crash at Pocono in 1988. After 80 days in the hospital and years of rehab, even he claims he'd like to try it one more time. And this season alone, Davey has crashed hard at Bristol. Broken ribs. The Winston, multiple injuries including a concussion. He raced the next week. And again at Pocono. A broken forearm and wrist. Once again, 1 week later, Davey was in the driver's seat. Why do they do it? It's in their blood. It's that fierce competitive nature, that drive and determination to do what few people in the world of sport have done. Although young Clifford Allison's dream of driving and winning on the Winston Cup circuit now rests frozen in time, his flame will forever burn bright. He, like his family before him and his fraternity of drivers, put his life on the line in pursuit of victory.
During difficult times in racing, the NASCAR family always strives to comfort one another. In fact, just this past weekend, we were in Mooresville, North Carolina, to attend a fundraiser for the children of Clifford and Elisa Allison. And we'll have that story for you next week on Inside Winston Cup Racing.
It's time now to take a short break. But before we leave you for this break, our long-awaited announcement on this year's winner of the Miller Genuine Draft Racing Crew Sweepstakes. And the winner is Bill Darwin of Hartselle, Alabama. Congratulations, Bill.
Race fans, order your copy of the 92 Winston Cup Yearbook for Christmas and enter the Great Book a Ride Sweepstakes 3, where you could win an all-expense-paid trip of a lifetime to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Coca-Cola 600, or win an official NASCAR racing jacket, or copies of NASCAR Video Magazine. Time's limited, so call 1-800-632-1100 now and order your Winston Cup Yearbook, and we'll automatically enter you into the sweepstakes. Remember, you cannot enter the sweepstakes over the phone unless you place an order. To enter without making a purchase, send your complete name, address, and phone number on a postcard to this address. You'll love this bonded leather coffee table collector's edition, featuring great color photography of the entire 92 season, including a special final season tribute to the King. Hurry, only a limited number are available to the public, and at just $34.95, they'll sell out fast. So get your copy of the 92 Winston Cup Yearbook today and book your ride to next year's Coca-Cola 600. Entry deadline December 31st, and you must be 21 or older to win. Give your race fan the gift that lasts a lifetime. Order your copy of the Winston Cup Yearbook today.
Last year, Davey Allison added something new to his car. It wasn't wider tires or a slicker shape. It was the same Haviland Formula 3 motor oil you can buy, straight off the shelf, to add more life to your car with complete protection against heat stress, starting friction, and engine dirt. Now, we're not saying it was Haviland Formula 3 that gave Davey the energy to lead more major NASCAR races than anyone last year and win this year's Daytona 500. But we're not saying it wasn't.
I'm Sears Sales Associate Gretchen Leckie-Ewing, and we have some of the best Christmas values in our history.
Right now, this LXI camcorder with 8x zoom and high-speed shutter is only $549.99, just $12 a month on your Sears Charge Plus. This Packard Bell 486 SX 25 megahertz computer with a 170 megabyte hard drive is only $32 a month on your Sears Charge Plus. For great Christmas values at Sears Brand Central,
you can count on me.
He could hear a song on the radio once and knew it word for word. That's one thing for sure. All he could think of was guitar and music.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here tonight to introduce a real good friend.
The quiet they heard at night, a cowboy often sings a song. Of course, it doesn't always work.
Twin blade from Bic? What's in it for me?
I'm a big man. Big man.
This is new? A twin for normal skin and a twin for sensitive, right?
I'm a big man.
Yeah, well, I'm a sensitive guy, so I tried it.
Big man.
It was good. It was great. The new Bic Twin Select. Normal, sensitive. It really blew me away. It made a big man out of me.
I'm a big man. Big man. All I really gotta do is live and die, but I'm in a hurry and don't know why. I want a ticket that'll take me anywhere but here. A ticket that'll take me anywhere but here. It only takes one good love, genuine out of a real home run to make you see.
all day, all night, all music. CMT, Country Music Television.
Today's mailbox is brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft.
Our question this week comes from Dave Bachman of Akron, Ohio. Dave wants to know, what are the various vents on the front of the race cars and what is their purpose? Well, Dave, for that answer, we'll go to Ray Hudson, who's the chief mechanic on the Robestas Fords that Sterling Marlin will drive in 1993.
Well, that's a good question, Dave. A lot of people's asked that question. The vents right here in the center of the car are for the water, which cools the radiator naturally. It basically keeps a stock appearance, as stock as you can get on a race car, I guess. And a lot of the teams will carry a oil cooler to cool the oiling system over on the left corner right here. And normally there's a opening, which the size is limited by NASCAR. When we go to the short tracks, like Martinsville and Wilkesboro and places like that, even some of the mile tracks will carry openings right here, which are 24 square inches per hose. NASCAR allow you 3 hoses, and that's for brake cooling purposes.
If you have any race questions, write to us at Inside Winston Cup Racing, Box 240-417, Charlotte 28224. If we use your question on the air, you'll receive this embroidered Miller Genuine Draft jacket. You'll also receive a copy of NASCAR videos, A Week in the Life of a Race Team, the latest volume in the exciting series, bringing the NASCAR lifestyle roaring into your living room.
One news item to report on from this past week is the fact that Hendrick Motorsports has signed Phil Parsons to drive their automobiles in 1993, and coming along on that venture will be crew chief Doug Richard. He's left the Darrell Waltrip operation.
Now, still to come on this show is Randy's conversation with Rick Hendrick. And as we leave you for this break, here's this week's Haviland Track Talk with Barry Dodson. And the focus, the safety of the collapsible steering column.
This edition of Track Talk is brought to you by Haviland. Add more life to your car.
Here on the Purelator Chevrolet, we use one of the hidden safety features in NASCAR. It happens to be a collapsible steering wheel. It's hidden inside the steering column up in the car. From here forward is a solid shaft going to the steering box. We use the front steer car, which seems to be everybody's favorite. The steering box is way out front with a solid shaft. thus making it a little more dangerous. But when you have this inside the car, inside the column, if Derek were to hit something like he did at Dover, this thing would collapse, keeping the steering wheel and the shaft away from the driver. In our crash at Dover, we had this type steering wheel with a pin. Derek hit so hard with such a grip that it inverted the wheel, knocking the spoke down over the pin, and the pin wouldn't come out. Since then, we've switched to this version. It's made by Sweep Manufacturing. It snaps right on the car, and all you got to do to remove it is pull like this. Much safer.
With cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft, the world's a very cool place.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
In America, your car doesn't just get you from here to there. It's a part of your life. To give your car complete protection, Texaco has developed Haviland Formula 3 motor oil. With not one, but 3 kinds of protection against heat stress, starting friction, and engine dirt. Haviland Formula 3. Add more life to your car.
A twin blade from Bic? What's in it for me?
I'm a big man. Big man.
This is new? A twin for normal skin and a twin for sensitive, right?
I'm a big man.
Yeah, well, I'm a sensitive guy, so I tried it.
Big man.
It was good. It was great. A new Bic Twin Select. Normal, sensitive. It really blew me away. It made a big man out of me.
You're enjoying TNN, the heart of country, and your #1 source for country music, entertainment, and information. If you'd like to know more about our programs or guest lineups, call TNN Viewer Services 615-883-7000. For tickets, call Opryland Customer Service 615-889-6611.
Next week on Inside Winston Cup Racing, we'll talk to Bobby Labonte about his new ride, look at how Hendrick Motorsports is building new cars, and see how race fans and race teams get together to help out during the holidays. Join us next week. In 1993, Rick Hendrick returns to a familiar 3-team format. Joining Ricky Rudd and Ken Schrader is one of the newest superstars in motorsports, Jeff Gordon. It's a new challenge for Hendrick Motorsports and, of course, for Rick Hendrick.
But, Bill, you know and I know that challenges are nothing new to Rick Hendrick. He's one of the big-time businessmen in the United States and one of the largest car dealers as well. The guy sells 60,000 cars a year from coast to coast.
Rick Hendrick is known to racing fans as one of the new breed of Winston Cup car owners. Influential, successful, driven, a multi-millionaire. His success on the racetrack has grown from a one-car team with no sponsor in early 1984 to this 2-car operation with major dollars behind it. Paralleling Rick's success in stock car racing has been his success in selling cars. Today at 42, he owns 36 dealerships, sells 25 different makes of cars in 8 different states. Each Monday morning at the Hendrick Management Corporation in Charlotte, Rick gathers his top brass. They lay out new plans for new stores and restructure old ones.
We need to do a little evaluation of the Acura versus the Volvo. I'd like to make that decision this week. I guess one of the questions is, what do we do with that other building if we want that building? And we probably, yeah. yeah, maybe I'll make a trip down there toward the end of the week and kind of decide on the swap of the Volvo and Acura, and also the new building and where we put the parts, and if we want to build in Mount Pleasant. Okay. Concord, Mark, you're on top of that.
Yeah, we'll go up there after this meeting to finish the buy-sell for that. And then next week, sell the assets that are in the Honda building to Honda from Southern State. Okay.
Immediately following the meeting, implementation of those ideas are put into motion by his management team. And I emphasize team. As you would expect, Rick is constantly on the move. He tries to visit each of his stores at least once every 90 days.
Steve handles Tom Cruise's personal cars, everything that Cruise buys.
Didn't quite get as many units, but we made some gross.
Yeah, that's good.
We made
That's strong.
Yeah, made a real good deal. Sold a used 400 Saturday, made about 45.
That's good.
City Chevrolet is the oldest in Rick's fleet of dealerships, which is soon to swell to over 40. Over the past 13 years, his philosophy of putting the customer first has been responsible for boosting car sales to over 60,000 per year.
If you're in the shop and you had service, we call you and find out how the service was. Is your car okay? You have any problems? And so it's trying to maintain that customer. You don't want to have to generate a new guy every week. You want to have a customer for life after you sell them one car. So we spend an awful lot of time in that. In the parts and service end of the business, we did it to take care of our customers, and also the average age of a car on the road now is 7.5 years. So if they're not buying new ones, they got to get them worked on. So I'll take you back and show you our service department. We scrub the floor in there twice a day. Come on, we'll walk back there if you want to do that.
That makes sense.
In our tour of City Chevrolet, Rick is quick to point out that his employees are the backbone of his success, all 2,000 of them, and their performance doesn't go unrewarded.
Oh, congratulations on an outstanding weekend. How many did you get?
64.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
We started on Thursday.
Thursday, okay. We recognize our salesmen. We have what we call the President's Club, and the salesmen actually compete against salesmen all over the country in our organization, and we take the top 50 in our company, and we give them a ring and a plaque, and they get a really pretty ring with the crest of the franchise they sell. And the thing they like to do more than anything else, I give them they can either go to California, or they can go to Disney World, or they can come to Charlotte and drive the race cars. And what do you think they pick? They come to Charlotte.
Hendrick appeals to people. He's unpretentious despite his success, and always personable. A perfect character to base a movie upon. And they did, as Randy Quaid loosely portrayed Rick as a car dealer, Winston Cup car owner in Days of Thunder, and Tom Cruise as Rick's rising star driver, Tim Richmond.
There's nothing I can't do with a race car.
He called me one day and he said, I got a producer that wants to come to town and meet you and a writer, and let's talk about it. And so when they came in, Robert Town spent a couple days with me. Then he said, well, how did you get started? And I told him, and then he met Harry Hyde, so they based a movie on that deal.
Everything Rick Hendrick does ties together with his love of racing, and he doesn't mind sharing it with his employees, as he brings many of them to the racetrack each week.
We don't know Rick Hendrick that well yet. We've just known him for about a week. But from what he's done for us so far, he made an effort to bring us out here, got us pit passes, garage passes, and he's a good guy.
Even though he's currently the largest Honda dealer and Saturn dealer in the United States, Rick doesn't take his success for granted.
I know a lot of dealers that are better car people and business people, a lot smarter than I am. And I just happen to be one of the first guys around that had an opportunity to be with Honda and Chevrolet. And a lot of people thought Honda wasn't going to make it, so I gambled, and it hit for me.
When it comes to marketing, Hendrick has the Midas touch. He sells racing, and in turn, that sells passenger cars.
Every time we open a Saturn store, we take one of these cars and fit it up like this. And what we do is we go over to the track and we take the salespeople and we take the media. When we open a new store, we invite the media, like in Hickory. It was unbelievable. We had newspaper, TV, and they all came and drove, and they had a ball. And so it's a promotional tool that ties the racing into the dealerships, and it gets us a ton of free publicity.
Well, that's all the time we have on this edition of Inside Winston Cup Racing. Glad you could join us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving weekend.
Ned Jarrett will return next week, and we'll see you then for more of Inside Winston Cup Racing.
Race fans, if you're making plans for next season and you'd like copies of the 1993 Winston Cup schedule, here are two ways to get some. Either send a self-addressed stamped envelope to this address, or if it's more convenient and you have a touch-tone phone, you can call us at 1-900-73-RACES. Call is 95 cents per minute, average call 2 minutes. Fans 18 and under, get your parents' permission before calling. Inside Winston Cup Racing has been brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm. And by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. Transportation for the Inside Winston Cup Racing crew provided by Fleetwood Enterprises, makers of a full line of excellent recreational vehicles. Clothing for the Inside Winston Cup Racing crew provided by Simpson Race Products, where innovation never stops. Promotional consideration and a fee paid for by NASCAR Video, taking you behind the scenes to meet the top drivers and personalities in the sport. Get your first volume featuring a week in the life of a race team. Order today.
Race Day, next on TNN. This is TNN, the Nashville Network, the #1 source for country music, entertainment, and information.